Well, hello again everybody and welcome back to the garage. It's a lovely sunny autumn day, real bright and crisp. It's the sort of day that you really should be out riding your bike rather than in the garage working on it. But there is a bit of an imperative to get this done and back on the road. Now if you follow the channel you'll be aware that I am planning on moving on this bike once it's finished and that back up and running, but I want to maybe have a good week or so riding it round to make sure that everything's still good, everything's bedded in and settled down and there's no problems, because I don't want to pass it on to someone and then have them come back to me with problems immediately. So I want to give it a good test ride and run round, maybe take it to work a few times, maybe take it on a longer trip before I sell it on. So it is still taxed and insured, so it's costing me money keeping it ready to give that test run. So I do want to get it done fairly soon. Now Chaz did offer to come up today and give me a hand, but we've both been a little bit unwell this week. I spoke to him yesterday and he said he was feeling a little bit rough. I actually had a day and a half off work this week because I wasn't feeling too clever. So there's still a bit of a hangover from that. I'm not feeling totally 100%, so I'm just going to take it steady and work through a few items on this bike just to get it on a little bit further. And I think I'm going to start by disconnecting the clutch cable again. It's one of the last things that we did last weekend, and actually we're obviously feeling a little bit tired. When we put the forks on, we put them the wrong side of the clutch cable, and that's actually preventing the handlebars turning fully in one direction. I don't think I'm going to reconnect it. I think I'm just going to take it off and leave it slack, because I think it might be easier to put the exhaust and radiator and all that sort of stuff on without having to worry about the clutch cable. So let's get that re-disconnected. Right, now basically I'm going to be going through my Haynes manual here, reversing the procedure that we took the engine out in, so following all the steps backwards, which is exactly what the book says to do. And the next thing I think is to reconnect the main engine earth, which is that one there. Now the next thing is to reconnect the gear position sense, which I think is this setup here. Well, that's that done. All these connectors are quite cleverly designed, so it's very difficult to plug the wrong one into the wrong one. But I did find another earth that I'd missed, which I reconnected whilst I was doing that. So what's next? Right, next is to connect the speed sensor. I think that's it, right down there. And I think this is the connector that goes onto it. Actually, I think what I connected before here was the alternator and crank position sensor. I think this here is the gear position sensor, and I believe it plugs into this one. Yeah, hopefully that's correct. Now the next thing is to connect the starter motor lead. And that is this lead here with this rubber boot on, but I believe it should have a spring washer in it that isn't there. It certainly mentions a spring washer in the manual, so I'm just going to go and see if I've got one the right size. Right, I've found one, so let's connect that up. Oh, it's a bit fiddly to get on. Oh my goodness, that's super fiddly. Ah, I think we've got a start on it. Make sure I get that little rubber boot over there as well. Oh, easier said than done. There we go. Now the next thing it says is the oil pressure switch, but that looks quite like that down there in the manual, which I connected before when it said to connect the speed sensor, so I think I've already done that. So this must perhaps be the speed sensor, so I need to find a wire that goes on there. But that is proving easier said than done. It's that one. There we go. Lovely. Actually, I think that might be the coolant temperature sensor, which means that perhaps I haven't done either the oil pressure or the speed sensor. Well, if at this point you're thinking this all looks a little bit haphazard and as if I don't know what I'm doing, it's because it's a bit haphazard and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best with this manual, and I think we're making some progress, aren't we? Right, the next job seems to be to connect the side stand switch. You can see it hanging down there, but I'm not actually sure what route it takes up through all this gubbins. The manual shows it connecting to connector somewhere about here, so I need to find something that can match up with it there. I need to work out what route it takes, because I don't want it getting tangled up in a chain, do I? Where we started, because the next thing is to reconnect the clutch cable. Now it's a case of putting the gear select thing on the spindle. There's a punch mark on it which helps align it in the correct place. Yeah, well, I was rummaging through my box of bits looking for the next thing, and I found this, which I recognise as being a little bar which holds part of the wiring loom down off that earth clip. So I'm going to have to take that off again and put this on. We're now at the stage, according to the book, where we can refit the exhaust. So I've got myself some new proper Triumph exhaust header studs. So I think the first job probably is to thread those in where we've broken and lost the original studs. And of course, Chaz's engineer mate has sorted that out for us and spark eroded and rethreaded the holes. Now, these are stainless steel studs, and obviously they're going into an alloy head, and obviously we had a problem with the old ones seizing. Now, I've read up quite a lot on what different people recommend to put on them to stop them seizing, and yeah, there's so many different opinions. I think a nickel based anti-seize seems to be the consensus, but people do say that copper anti-seize is okay, and it's what I've got, so that's what I'm going to use. And it does actually list exhaust manifolds, brackets, flanges and studs on the tin itself, so I'm going to go with that. Right, next I'm going to take the old gasket sealing rings out of the exhaust ports in the head. One of them has already fallen out, and the other two I think are quite loose, so they should come out quite easily. I may have spoken too soon there. I'm going to get a screwdriver and try and pry them out carefully with a screwdriver. Well, they do seem properly jammed in there. They're not coming out very easily at all, but I have got another slight concern. So on the right there you can see the old gasket, the gasket that did fall out, that did come loose and fell out of the exhaust port when we took the exhaust headers off all that time ago. And on the left here is the new part that I bought. It's a Triumph part, it's a genuine part, but it's completely different. It's a copper ring, completely sort of round bar ring, and this is more of a sort of shaped alloy kind of material. So yeah, there's a bit of a difference there. Now it's quite tempting to pop this original gasket back in and just reuse the gaskets that were in the bike, but obviously that's not preferable. It is better to use new exhaust gaskets. Gaskets don't really want an exhaust leak. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a quandary. I'm not entirely sure what to do, whether to persist in getting those out and use the new ones, or whether to just pop this back in and take a chance. Well, I'll tell you what, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for today. I've spent a good few hours on this, I'm not sure we've made spectacular progress. We've made some progress. It's been more tinkering really, hasn't it? But everything I've done, I suppose, is a step towards getting the bike back together. But this is the first sort of big hurdle I've hit, and I'm really not sure what to do here. I suppose really what I should do is try and get those old gaskets out, but I am very wary of damaging that cylinder head again. Really don't want to do that. So I'll probably have a bit of a chat with Chaz about it later on and see what he thinks. But for the moment, I think I'm going to pack away and head indoors. I'm quite tired now, definitely still not fully recovered. So yeah, that's it for this video, and we'll see you again very soon in the next one, hopefully with a little bit more progress.